You never think your worst betrayal will come from the person you've shared everything with, your childhood, your secrets, your family. But mine did, and it came wrapped in a white dress, with my name erased. My name is Isabel, and this was supposed to be the happiest season of my life. I was planning my wedding, not a royal event, but something warm, simple, and filled with the people I loved most. I had my venue, I had my guest list, and I had Jason, the man I thought I'd grow old with. I also had my sister, Clarissa. She was always the bold one, the one with the spotlight. Every school play, every family reunion, every single birthday, she found a way to make it about her. And I didn't mind. Really, I didn't. I learned to let her shine while I lived quietly beside her. But this was my moment, my one day. The day I had waited for all my life. The day I thought she would stand beside me, not in place of me. Looking back, I can almost hear the ticking, like a countdown I didn't know I was listening to. Everything looked perfect on the outside. People smiled when I said I was getting married. Clarissa even offered to help. She called herself my unofficial maid of honor, since I hadn't chosen anyone yet. She was charming, efficient, generous. And I was grateful. Grateful and blind. I didn't see the way she lingered in conversations with Jason. I didn't question why my florist stopped returning calls, or why the venue asked to reconfirm the names. I thought it was just wedding stress. But it wasn't. It was a trap. One so carefully planned and executed, I didn't even feel it tightening around me until the very last moment. And by the time I realized what was happening, I wasn't the bride anymore. I was the girl who lost her wedding to the one person she thought she could trust. But this story, it doesn't end with me walking away. It begins there. Because if she thought I'd stay silent, she chose the wrong sister to betray. You ever look back at something and realize the clues were always there, like little red flags waving right in your face? But at the time, you brushed them off as nothing. Just noise, just stress, just coincidence. That's how it was with Clarissa. If I'm honest, it didn't start as suspicion. It started as gratitude. She was so helpful. I was juggling work, wedding planning, family check-ins, and she swept in like the sister of the year. "I'll handle the emails," she offered. "Let me confirm with the venue. Don't worry about your dress fittings. I'll call them for you." And I let her. I was exhausted, overwhelmed, and honestly a little touched. For the first time in a long time, Clarissa wasn't competing with me. She was helping me. Or so I thought. But then, weird things started happening. First, my florist emailed me back weeks late, apologizing for the change of name on the account. I thought maybe it was a glitch. Then my seamstress called and asked if I'd approved a different neckline, one I never even considered. Still, I didn't connect the dots. Because who would do something like that? Who replaces their own sister step by step and pretends like everything's fine? Clarissa would. She always knew how to get what she wanted, but I never thought she'd want my life. Not like this. The biggest red flag came a week before the wedding. Jason seemed distant. He said he was tired. Work was crazy. He barely looked at the wedding scrapbook I had spent nights putting together. But when Clarissa walked into the room, he lit up, laughed at her jokes, glanced her way just a second too long. I ignored it, because the truth was too ugly to face. My sister wasn't just helping, she was replacing me, piece by piece, conversation by conversation, dress fitting by guest list. And I let her. By the time I realized it wasn't bad luck or miscommunication, it was sabotage. She wasn't beside me. She was behind me, with a knife. But the real twist, she didn't just want my day. She wanted my place in the story. And she had no idea I was about to rewrite the ending. Some betrayals come quietly, like a shadow slipping into a room. Others? They hit like a fist to the chest. Mine came at 10:02 p.m., the night before my wedding. I was curled up on the couch, finally letting myself breathe. After months of chaos and planning, tomorrow was supposed to be the big day, my day. I had triple-checked the guest list, reviewed my vows, and even laid out my shoes. Then my phone buzzed. It was an automated message from the venue. Just a simple confirmation text. Excited to welcome Clarissa and Jason tomorrow at 11 a.m. I blinked, read it again, and again. No, this had to be a mistake. I sat up so fast I knocked my tea off the table. My fingers fumbled across my screen as I called the venue directly. The receptionist answered, cheerful and clueless. Yes, the bride and groom confirmed their names last week. Clarissa and Jason, right? My heart stopped. The air in the room turned cold. I wasn't breathing. I was breaking. I grabbed my keys. No coat, no shoes. Just my phone and a fire in my chest I couldn't contain. I drove to the venue, the same place I had toured and picked with so much love and care, the same place where Clarissa had offered to help with the contracts. And when I arrived, everything inside me collapsed. The welcome board had their names. The bride's changing room had a silk robe embroidered with Clarissa. My dress, the one I had spent months customizing, it was hanging by the mirror with her measurements pinned to the side. It wasn't a mistake. It was a replacement. Jason was there too, rehearsing with her like it was just another day. When he saw me, really saw me, he didn't look shocked. He looked annoyed, like I was the problem. I wanted to scream, to cry, to tear it all down, but I didn't. Because in that moment, I realized something even worse than betrayal. They had planned this. Together. They thought I was weak, that I'd vanish without a fight. But what they didn't know was that the girl they erased, she was about to become unforgettable. There's a moment when heartbreak hardens into something else, something sharper, not sadness, not even anger, something colder. I stood in that wedding venue, surrounded by lies stitched with white lace, and felt everything inside me turn to ice. Clarissa came over, acting like nothing was wrong, like we weren't standing in my stolen reality. She held the hem of her dress, tilted her head, and gave me that familiar, smug smile, the one she used when she got her way. "Isabel," she said softly, "you always wanted me to be happy, didn't you?" That's what she said, like I should applaud her, like I should hand her my life, my groom, and say, "Congratulations." I looked at Jason. He couldn't even meet my eyes. Coward. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a performance. One they'd rehearsed while I was out there chasing dreams they were quietly tearing down. Clarissa leaned in and whispered, "It's done. Just let it go. Don't make this harder than it has to be." Harder? She had stolen my fiancé, my wedding, my family's trust, and I was the one making it hard? I didn't say a word, not yet, because I realized then that was what they expected, for me to cry, to run, to shrink, to disappear like a bad memory. They'd written me out of the story, assuming I'd never rewrite it. But I wasn't going to fall apart in front of them. I was going to let them think they'd won, because the best trap is the one that looks like surrender. I left the venue without another word. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't even slam the door. I just walked. And with every step, the fire inside me grew hotter. Not from revenge, but from truth. From the realization that I had all the pieces, the emails, the calls, the contracts, every receipt of how they'd erased me. I wasn't the forgotten bride. I was the storm they never saw coming. And if they thought I'd go quietly into the background, they chose the wrong woman to cross. There's a certain clarity that comes after you've been shattered. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table, the same one I had dreamed of decorating with wedding flowers, staring at my phone in the dark. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was electric. My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't hitch. I had never been so calm. because something inside me had finally woken up. They stole my wedding, but they didn't erase my voice, and I still had one day to use it. I began with my emails, every thread Clarissa had taken over. I downloaded them all, forwarded them to a secure backup, cross-checked her edits, her lies, her name replacing mine like I was just a placeholder. Then came the contracts, ones she had handled on my behalf. But she wasn't careful. Clarissa had forged my signature, yes, but she left timestamps, mistakes, overlaps. Next, I called the bridal boutique. And bless that sweet seamstress, because she still had the security footage from the day Clarissa came in, pretending to be me. I had never been in that shop in my life. But there she was, smiling, twirling, holding the dress I designed for her stolen fantasy. I packaged it all into a beautiful, devastating truth bomb. Screenshots, PDFs video clips, a timeline of betrayal, and I didn't just send it to one person. I sent it to everyone, every wedding guest, every vendor, every photographer, planner, and friend on our list. This subject line, this was supposed to be my wedding. Then I contacted a local blogger known for covering wedding stories. I sent her everything. No drama, just facts. She replied in under an hour. "Are you okay sharing this publicly?" And I said, "Yes, I have nothing to hide." But that wasn't the final move. I found a new dress. Simple, elegant, and powerful in a way lace could never match. I called someone who had always stood quietly beside me, someone who had seen the unraveling long before I did. He said, "I've been waiting for you to ask." And then I waited. Not for revenge, but for the moment the truth would burn bright enough to make shadows disappear. They thought they stole the spotlight. They didn't know I was about to light up the whole room. They say revenge is best served cold. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth to shine so brightly that no one could deny what they had done, not even them. The morning of the wedding arrived. Or rather, their wedding. Clarissa slipped into the dress she stole. Jason stood at the altar, reciting lines he never earned. The guests, unaware of the storm brewing, took their seats. Some whispered about the bride looking familiar. Others, about how odd it was that I, the sister, hadn't arrived. They wouldn't have to wonder for long. At exactly 9 a.m., phones began to buzz, one by one, ping after ping, a slow wave of confusion, turning to shock, then to stunned silence. The message was simple. "Before the ceremony begins, I think you deserve to know the truth." Attached, emails, contracts, photos, a video clip of Clarissa pretending to be me in the bridal shop. Every lie, every step of the betrayal. Undeniable, undiluted. Gasps rippled through the room. Guests began to stand, whisper, point. Some walked out, some stayed, wide-eyed and frozen. Jason's mother slapped his shoulder and hissed something through gritted teeth. Clarissa looked around in panic, her perfect curls trembling. Then came the final blow. The projector, set up for a cutesy slideshow of their love story, suddenly flickered to life. And instead, it played mine. A photo of my original wedding invitation, my design, my name, my dream. Followed by, "This was never her day, it was mine." Clarissa's face drained of all color. Jason didn't even try to stop it because he knew it was true. And then the doors opened. I stepped in, not in tears, not in rage, but with calm, wearing my new dress, holding the hand of someone who had seen the ashes and stayed anyway. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. I had already told the whole story, and this time, no one had written me out. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was justice. Clarissa had her moment under the lights, but it didn't shine. It burned, because a spotlight doesn't hide the truth. It exposes it. Some people measure success in applause. I've learned to measure mine in silence. The kind of silence that falls after truth has finally been spoken, when there's nothing left to deny and nowhere left to hide. Clarissa took my wedding. She took the dress, the venue, the groom, and tried to take the people who once loved me most. For one day, she stood in my place, pretending she belonged there. But that's all she got. One day, because when the lights came up and the illusion shattered, all that remained was what she truly was: a liar wrapped in lace, standing alone under a spotlight that no longer flattered. It exposed. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to throw a tantrum or scream at the world. The truth did all the talking. And it spoke louder than I ever could. Jason disappeared from her life within days. His parents, horrified by the scandal, cut ties completely. The wedding footage made its rounds, first in our town, then online. Whispers followed her everywhere. She couldn't go to the grocery store without feeling eyes on her, couldn't open her phone without seeing what she tried to hide. She tried to delete it, to move on, to pretend it never happened. But some stains don't wash out. As for me, I rebuilt, not just my life, but myself. I found someone who didn't see me as a placeholder, a backup, or an afterthought. He saw my silence and called it strength. He held my hand through the healing and let me take my time. And when we finally said I do, there were no lies, no replacements, no secrets waiting in the shadows. Just love. Real, steady, honest love. Clarissa took a day, but I took the rest of my life. Because revenge, I've learned, isn't about destruction. It's about reclaiming what was stolen. Your story, your name, your peace. And the best revenge isn't what you burn down, it's what you protect. I will never again let someone write me out of my own life, not even blood. Especially not blood.